My name is Gianni Russo, a.k.a. Carlo, the infamous son-in-law from The Godfather. I'm now known as the Hollywood Godfather, and this is my story.
Before all of the wins in my portfolio, I was a little boy diagnosed with polio. Experimenting with cures, I tried every one. Felt everything in my right, but my left was numb. Walking with a limp, like will I ever run? Once again, or is this it? Am I forever done? Living in the hospital was never fun. Some people were cool, but not everyone.
Welcome, everybody. It's time for another Hollywood Godfather podcast. And I'm so excited for this new categories of stuff we're going to do because, as you know, we're on 3 years, thanks to all of you. And some of your requests have made tremendous shows. But I think we're starting to get you more involved in really digging deep. And first of all, let me introduce my co-host, obviously, Jeannie Raymond. How are you, my love?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm telling you, the question you sent me today just revitalized me and is bringing me to another level in my life. Maybe I'm getting old, which I am, but more melancholy and more sentimental. Because the question, why don't you read the question so our audience knows what I'm talking about?
All right. It's from Isabella, and she asks, can you tell us about a gift you have ever gotten in your life that made a profound impact on your life, that maybe lifted your spirits or inspired you in ways that you hadn't expected?
Well, I have to be honest. Once I heard the question, and I'll let our audience know, I just finished my third book called Mafia Secrets. So with all that, a lot of my life, I just revisited. And when I revisited to find the answer to your question, it's right here in my house. This is a gift that on August 7th, 1949, was given to me the night before my birthday, December 12th, when I was about to be 7. This is a transistor radio. I have to be honest with you, I had to research and get one that's working because I wanted to work. This one works. It was given to me by a lady I totally adore, and she knew how much I wanted it. She gave it to me. But the importance of this radio has totally changed my life when I needed it, because I got the radio when I was in Bellevue, quarantined. And I was getting very depressed. As I mentioned the date, I got there August 7th, and my birthday was approaching. And everybody out there who read the book, there was a girl called Dolores Barone, who was my floor nurse, and she was very good to me. Her uncle, which is amazing, that these threads that I met early on in my life, which I thought this man was really my uncle. I'm talking about Carlo Gambino, who's the head of the largest crime family in the world at that time, the Gambino crime family, with over 5,000 members.
Oh, wow.
and the strongest crime family there was. And I thought he was really my uncle. I don't know who this guy was. I saw him on the streets. I saw Uncle Carlo, always shook his hand, but realizing he knew my family coming from Sicily. And that's what they used to do. When you settled in an Italian community, like so many other immigrants came, they tried to stay where they knew people. So when they walked the streets, they were comfortable. This guy, Carlo Gambino, I knew of him. I had very little encounter with him because I'm 6 years old, that I'm quarantined.
Wow.
But the interesting thing, and reflecting now, as I just mentioned, 70-something years later, I have this gift changed my life at that time. I was already 4 or 5 months in the hospital, watching kids die through the night. I was in a 20-bed ward. And as my birthday was approaching, I said to Dolores Barone, her name was, I says, anybody gonna come and see me? Now,
Oh,
we've all been children. We all look forward to our birthdays and holidays. And I said, is anybody gonna come and see me on my birthday? She said, Johnny, you're highly contagious and nobody can come. And now you can imagine how devastated I was. But the night before my birthday, December 11th, she brings me this gift, a red transistor radio. And it took me years later to figure out what the message was. She said, my uncle told me to tell you it fell off a truck and he gave it to you. Because it was in the waterfront. They controlled the waterfront. But so I didn't know what that was about at all.
right.
At 6 o'clock in the morning, because understand I'm already laying in a bed, and it's not a hospital room that we all know today with television and all of that. There was nothing. Our only privacy was the curtain that they'd pull around the bed when they examined us. Then they opened that curtain, and there was a 20-bed ward. 10 going one way, 10 going the other way, and one window in the corner. And why I'm giving you this visual, I'm in the middle of this thing. And I started to get friendly with kids when I first got there. And then 2 or 3 weeks later or a month later, I'd wake up and their bed was sterilized. And they said, Robbie went to heaven. And, I was very religious with my grandmother, going to church already. So I was very much aware of heaven. But that also confused me, because why is God doing this to kids?
Right.
What did we do wrong? But when I turned this radio on, the significance of what I heard is overwhelming now that I'm digesting it, and how meaningful. It was a map for me to succeed, unbeknownst to me. My
Right.
subconscious mind absorbed, because when I turned the radio on, they were giving all kinds of accolades to Frank Sinatra. It was his birthday. I didn't know I had the same birthday as Frank Sinatra. I didn't even know who he was.
I was just going to ask you that as a little kid, you probably didn't even know who he was.
No, my grandmother listened to Enrico Caruso and all the Italian singers.
Right. And
I'm
here's
sure some of them will listen to him because he was a big star.
right.
And ironically, the first song I heard was his hit tune that year, 1949, You Make Me Feel So Young.
Oh,
And the lyric and the few bars of that song sunk into me in a different way, because the lyric said, you make me feel so young. You make me feel like spring has sprung. And every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy individual the moment that you speak. I want to run, go play hide and seek. I want to go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. Now, when you digest that lyric, I'm a cripple.
uh,
I can't bounce a ball. I can't play hide and seek. And that's all the things I was supposed to be doing. So now you can understand. I'm saying, this is amazing. Who's this guy? And he was 10 blocks away from me at the New York Paramount on 42nd Street. I'm in Bellevue, 10 blocks away. He's doing 5 or 6 shows a day. But I did, they were telling me the accolades. His mother was a barmaid. His father was in Todd Shipyard during the war. And he was an Italian American that made it. And the lyrics haven't sunk in till now that I reflect on it, because these are all the things I wanted to do. I was doing it before I got into the hospital. I was playing, hide and seek. I was
right.
running around playing stickball. And I didn't even realize what I was missing. All I was realizing was my hurt and my pain and feeling sorry for myself. That song and Mr. Sinatra, comparing myself to his upbringing, I'm the same guy. And he inspired me to get out of there. So, when I got some strength, they stopped giving me the bedpan. And some of you have heard this before, but now you can understand the interpretation now, how meaningful it is 72 years later, 74 years later. All these threads in my life. And I just wrote this book, and it's amazing, with Michael Benson, and it's called Mafia Secrets. It'll be out in about 9-10 months. But when I realized the questions that our audience are asking, they don't realize what they're rejuvenating in my life. So that's why the cards and letters and all these things that we keep asking them, they're hitting on stuff like this. And by the end of this show, I mean, I hope they'll listen to the sincerity of this. It absolutely changed my life, because once we had strength, they didn't give me a bedpan. You had to get out of bed. They forced you to drag out of your bed. And I dropped to the floor, crawl along the floor, get to a railing to pull myself up, and drag myself to the bathroom. I was a lot better off than a lot of kids because my right side was normal. So I had the strength to drag myself. A lot of kids couldn't go. They gave them the bedpans. They never left their bed, and they gave up. They just starved themselves. We saw there was no revelation. There was no, where can I go?
Right.
Me dragging myself and going to the bathroom, I knew I can get out of there. And every day I got stronger. And then there was a situation with Jonas Salk that there was this vaccine. And 2 or 3 years, I got out of the hospital. And that's why when you mention this question, it's insane. You being a mother, you can imagine.
Gianni, I thought about this earlier when I was, getting ready to come on here, and we talked about it once before, and I have a granddaughter, she's 7, and I cannot imagine her being in a hospital where we weren't all clamored at the door, first of all, or sleeping overnight with her, or, I can't imagine, number one, leaving my child overnight alone because I'm such a worrier. But for how long were you there?
I was there for 5 years straight.
5 years. I don't understand it. And
in defense to my parents, which I don't normally defend.
right.
So maybe that was their feeling, because I was quarantined. They couldn't come in. I remember my mother holding my hand as we were getting to the door that said quarantine, and they took my mother's hand and pulled it away from mine. Said, you can't go beyond here.
Right.
So
I can't imagine.
I'd rather give them that judgment that they wanted to.
Right.
But the longer I was there, nobody came.
Yeah.
But again, that's still, I'm not looking for sympathy or anything. That's who I am. That's what made me who I am. My strength, and still what I'm doing at 82 years old, is all of that energy yet.
Right.
So
you were able to lay there and build up some. Well, I love that it built up your mind, because your sense of adventure and the fact that you're so daring. You came out of there and pretty much afraid of nothing. You're living on death's door.
In a situation, not to reiterate that, but being attacked by a pedophile. I didn't even know what a pedophile was.
Right.
And that's how I got out. We don't have to get into that.
Right.
Read the book, Hollywood Godfather. You'll know how I got out.
That's right.
All of those trials and errors through life for me early on like that. When I hit the streets at 12, I didn't care about nothing. I was invincible.
Hit the street
because of what I went through, and I am, I think. It's crazy.
Oh, right. Well, let's get it. Give us just a minute here and do a quick commercial and then get back to this.
Please.
All
We'll
right.
be right back. We know where you are. Hi, it's Gianni Russo, the host of Hollywood Godfather podcast, and I want to thank you for your loyalty. We're trying a new campaign with Corleone Fine Italian Foods. We want to bring back the tradition of the family sitting down together. And we made it easy for you by our prepared sauces so you don't have to slave over the stove like Grandma used to do. And invite your friends and family over. And I have another suggestion. When you do that, maybe you should put the movie on or even Zoom call me and I'll talk to you while you're having it. Remember, it's Corleone Fine Italian Foods, all one word. Go to the website, see the products, do direct sales. Keep listening to Hollywood Godfather podcast. We appreciate you. Send the cards and letters coming in. Please let them come in. We need your suggestions for more shows. God bless. Okay, we're back. But, I think going forward, who are great followers, fortunately, who've been with us from the beginning, are newcomers, you're going to hear stories now because this question opened my life to my experiences, which I want to share. That's why I wrote another book. I
Yeah.
want people to know about when you read Mafia Secrets,
Secret.
this is insane. It's insane. And I lived it. You're going to hear
Right.
about the Khomeini. You're going to hear about Pablo Escobar, Noriega. These are world leaders. What was I doing with them? But it's crazy. So
That's
now I'm energized. It's like I just found out what we should be doing with this show. And it's going to be telling these stories.
give us
And
some
they
previews
have
to
to
that.
contribute, ask the questions. We'll do a show on it.
That's
But
right.
it's so insane
Well,
because
I love. Oh, the more we talk about it, the more topics it seems to, get the juices flowing in your head and remind you of other things. And, you've lived a fascinating life I mean, the thing is, you couldn't make this stuff up
oh
if
no,
you tried. And then I love it because we've had so many people come along that you have started a conversation with, and you're like, oh yeah, you hung out with my dad, or remember this or remember that. And every time I'm like blown away that it never fails, that because it comes up and it solidifies, and it's like if people were thinking, oh, this is too far fetched, these people come out of the woodwork and they validate everything you say, which is
and
always so fun.
as we experienced a few times, even with Steve Sharippa and different people like that,
Yeah.
Frankie Valli. I mean, I've had the privilege and still have. Like I just came out of Baku, Azerbaijan. I didn't even know where the place was.
No, me
I
either.
get to have 5,000 people on stage. It was insane.
Yeah.
When I sat on the plane coming home, I'm saying, what did I just experience?
Yeah. I can't
That's
imagine.
what I like. I'm still having these revelations.
Right.
And like next weekend, I was just told, because this Labor Day weekend, as we're doing it just now, but I'll be in Somerset, New Jersey.
Oh, what are you doing?
There's 30,000 tickets sold already.
Oh my heck. What is it?
30,000
Is
tickets.
it a festival or what is it?
I can't believe this. This is a car show. It's Dead Man's Curve. And they're featuring me at the show, and they want me to come from now. They can't believe the people that are buying tickets and coming. I'll be there for 3 days. But
Oh
that's
my
what I'm saying. It doesn't stop. And most people and some people don't even make it. At
right.
82 years of age, Costello died.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, that's why I look at people around me that I've known forever. I've lost them already,
Right.
and I'm still doing
Oh,
these crazy things.
going strong. Yeah, you are more active than most anyone your age I know, except for my mother. My mother is like you, Gianni. She just does not. She's a mover and a shaker. She's not, running around and doing what you're doing. But she's 88 years old. Sorry, Mom. But she's 88. She's still golfing. She's still enjoying her life, and I love
That'll
it.
keep her going.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I know these people that pour me and feel sorry for me. That ain't me.
No, people that sit down and get sedentary, that is the kiss of death right there. You
Yeah.
know, you stop moving and it goes downhill from there. Well,
And
I'm
that's,
glad.
and that's what I want to convey also. This is not telling you the trials and tribulations of Johnny Russo. It's
No,
anybody that's out there that's not the person they want to be right now.
right.
Believe in who you are. Have a dream. And I always tell even my kids, my grandchildren, but don't ever dream to do things you can't do. It has to be within your means, unless you're only going to get more depressed.
Right. That's funny you say that because my sister's grandson, he said, well, I want to be an astronaut. And she's like, and I think it was his dad that said, son, listen, we live here. You're not going to any Ivy League schools. You're never going to get to NASA. Listen, throw that dream aside because it ain't going to happen. And someone was like, oh my gosh, that's a little harsh. And he said, well, I don't want him thinking he's going to be able to do something that there's absolutely no way he's going to do. Pick a new dream, kid. And I thought, I guess that's kind of, a better way to do it. And that's the thing. Do what you can do and do well and
Right.
go for it, but don't pick something that's never going to happen.
And,
Or
and
you will be
another
disappointed.
secret of challenging yourself in life, when you pick what you want to do, don't tell too many people.
Oh, for sure.
No, and my grandkids said to me, why, puppy? I said, because then they're going to know you failed. If you don't tell them, you don't know.
Right.
These are the nuances you learn, so you always appear
Like,
headstrong. I failed at a lot of things. I didn't tell anybody what I failed at.
that's
You only read about what I did do. It's, and that's why
smart.
I feel now, and I think you can feel the different energy I have right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's so fun to see. And I love it when you're excited about something because you couldn't hold it in if you tried. You
Yeah,
know, it just exudes from you that you are enjoying life. You're not going to waste a minute of it. You
no.
know,
And
you get,
what I like about it also, the people who've been our loyal fans are going to realize it too. We are going on a journey in the next 2 years. You're not going to believe, because I already have the roadmap and I'm already getting interest in supporting it.
nice.
We're, I can't tell you too much, but it's insane. But again, it's the cards, the letters, the suggestions that we can find these vehicles, share them. And believe me, if I haven't experienced it, I'll find somebody that did and let them tell you what they've experienced. But I'm pretty confident we're going to have a journey. And I also see the reflection in your face because you enjoy it.
Oh my gosh. I have a ball. I look forward to this all week. This is the excitement.
And that's what people are telling us that too in their mailbag. We love Jeannie. We love the energy. So I mean, it's so scary because from just meeting Sinatra on the radio, spin forward 4 years later, I meet him in person at the Copacabana while he's doing a sound check. Spin forward again, I'm traveling with him during the nominations for the Democratic Presidential Convention to get JFK nominated. And all of a sudden, he's realizing, look what you're doing. We met at the Copa. I introduced myself as the kid. Now I'm traveling with him, spending the weekends at the Sands Hotel with Senator John F. Kennedy. And it's these kind of revelations you're saying, wait a minute, this is nuts. And then he baptizes my son, Luciano.
Oh,
Then he
that's right.
becomes my singing teacher. I mean, we'll go on and on and on. I could do 10 shows on Sinatra, but that'll get monotonous. But it's so rewarding.
Oh boy.
And it didn't cost anything. It's life experience.
Yeah, it didn't cost anything, that's for sure.
You
It,
know, but
yeah, it is amazing that what you have uh, done in your life, and these people that came along in your life and were your mentors. That I
you
mean,
know,
what are the chances? You
but
know,
who would ever think a transistor radio would
would change.
motivate a cripple to exercise and get out?
Yeah.
But you never know how you're helping someone. That's the story.
Oh, isn't that true?
You know,
I met.
like Costello. I mean, Costello put his arm around me. I didn't know who the guy was.
Right.
At first, I just liked the idea. Every day he gave me
Gave
$5.
you money.
And then,
Not a bad gig.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I said, yeah, you come every day. I love it.
Yeah.
Do the math. Let's use 30 as a number.
Yeah.
Times five. Hello. It's $150 net in my pocket in
Right.
the 50s.
It,
No, it's those kind of things that, I'm so happy. And again, I did a lot of research with Michael Benson. This new book is going to blow you away. I mean, the chapter on the Vatican, and I mean, to have the relationship with three popes. And then my longest relation was John Paul. And now he's a saint. Who could say they know a saint? John Paul, Saint John Paul is a saint. That's how bizarre and crazy this is about.
right.
You know, again, I hope I'm not talking too much, but the book is
No.
in. It's at Kensington Press, and you're going to hear more stories that you're going to say. And I read the comments. Oh, this is ridiculous.
Right.
Such a storyteller. I am a
Right.
storyteller, but they're
Yeah,
my
you're a great
stories.
storyteller. That's
Hello,
exactly right.
my
And
stories.
that's exactly, Gianni. It's like, oh, well, even the haters, they're still
Oh, I
listening.
know.
So who cares?
Oh,
They're in there.
you can't
They're
be liked by
yeah,
everybody, and the haters bring. I had two fans. This is very funny. Two fans. I'm reading their comments back and forth to themselves. They said, "Oh, that's all BS. He didn't know that guy. How could he know Marilyn Monroe? Was
yeah,
he 10? Well, do the math,
oh,
idiot. I was 16.
yeah. Pretty close. Yeah. It is funny because I listen to I read them sometimes. Everyone says don't read the comments. I'm like, oh well, there's somebody, they're gonna like us, they're gonna hate us, whatever. And but it is so true. Like the what's Fountain Blue or
Oh,
the Copa, that guy that you were that came on the show, and he was talking about the Copa. Mr. Copa was the book or something he had written,
right.
and he started talking about stuff. And well, you brought something up, and just it it was like, there you go. These things can't all be BS, because there's this guy who was a kid growing up at the Copa, and there's his dad, and then you guys start talking, and that kid's like, oh my gosh. So, people can think whatever they want, but you've got pictures, you've got stories, you've got people like him that say, absolutely. But
You know,
I have a friend that parked cars at State Street. I mean, it's a small world. And I was just shocked, that someone I know here in Ogden worked for you and
you know,
absolutely loved State Street and saw those people and saw Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis and those people coming in and out of the clubs in Las Vegas. And so it's great to hear these stories. I love them, and a lot of people love them. So I hope
yeah, like
so.
you're saying, the likers outnumber the haters.
Oh,
And
yeah,
haters, you'll always have them. I
right.
was told early on. My grandfather said, you're going to be hated a lot. I said, why? You're too good looking. I said,
Yeah,
Grandfather. He says, believe me. And that's before I even got to where I am.
yeah.
Forget, I don't want, I'd rather not be good looking. I like to be rich. So I'm rich. So
You nailed them both.
I
You
can
did
make
good.
myself good looking.
There you go. That's so funny. I had a
Interesting.
girl tell me one time, I worked with her when I worked at American Express, and then I sat by her one day and she said, "Oh, you're really nice." She goes, when I first saw you, I thought you were really stuck up and rude. And I said, why? I said, what did I do? I'm sorry. And she's like, oh no, it was your hair. I think we need to put some highlights in it. I was like, what the hell? I mean, people, is that the funny? I love that story because I think it's hilarious. But I was like, and we ended up being the best of friends. But it's just funny what people think.
No,
But
it's,
who cares? We're
but
having fun.
I'm so blessed, and still believe in God, and I think that's the whole backbone of my success.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's I thank the lady who wrote this in, because that was really my first really given gift that I
Yeah.
changed my life,
Right.
and it did, and it still is. It's so funny we're talking about it, but it's I mean, I can't even imagine not knowing who Sinatra was in my life.
Oh, it would be
No,
totally different.
right. I mean,
Totally different.
it's so again, it only shows the audience is listening, they're responding. Send us more cards and letters. I have volumes and volumes and volumes of answers to your questions you didn't even ask yet.
Exactly. Oh, well, I think these are great. And not only that, um, not only is it that, but it just goes to the world's turned into such a nasty place.
Oh my
And
God, yeah.
people with their rude comments and their shitty behavior, and
Everybody's mad. There's more haters in
exactly.
life than I could believe. And the world is talking about it.
Oh, exactly.
And it's not just in the United States, it's
Right.
everywhere. There's
Yeah.
such a negative vibe. I'm
Right.
hoping, in the next 3 or 4 months, we get somebody in the White House, and
That's right.
I don't care who it is, but we have to change this whole situation we're living in.
That's exactly right. I just always think it costs you nothing to be kind, to be nice. And I grew up, and I don't know if it was a TV minister because there was Joyce Meyer. I loved her. Anyway, I think it was her, or maybe it was in church. I don't know where I learned it, but I'd always heard lose yourself in the service of others. And I'm like, it's not hard to be a good person and to help people and to be kind and help people that need it. You know what I mean? Or just don't be a jackass. That seems as simple as possible,
Right.
just don't be a jerk. But yeah, I think
Some people can't help themselves, though.
well,
Yeah.
they could try.
Well, yeah, but they have to know. They have to know they're doing something wrong. They don't realize they are.
How can you not realize it? Gianni, you're being nicer than me because the older I get, the meaner I get, and I want to just smack the people right off their seat. Yeah, yeah.
Don't waste your energy on anger.
I know. Oh, well, luckily for me, one of my biggest flaws is I'm not good at holding a grudge.
Oh yeah, but I don't hold grudges either.
No, it doesn't, because then if I have to hold a
That's
grudge,
really a lot of wasted energy.
oh yeah, I don't have the time. I forget. I don't want to sit and be mad. No, I just think that gift, we're grateful to Dolores Barone and to her uncle for show us again that great transistor radio. I love that. You know how long it's been since I've seen one of those? It's so fantastic.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Something
It's
that
got one of the first ones, six transistors. It still plays. That's what's more important.
that's
You
amazing.
know, and I've been listening to Sinatra music every day of my life since then.
I got to tell you, I've forgotten. I loved when you sang at the beginning of our podcast because I loved hearing you sing, and you sang, and I thought, my God, he's got a beautiful voice. It's fantastic. I'm glad to hear you sing again. But
Well, Sinatra taught me.
yeah.
There you go. See, that's what I'm saying. It's that thread.
Oh, it does. You could
You know,
hear the inspiration in it.
and it wasn't until 40 years later that even happened. But that's what I'm talking about. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he came into State Street, which I was older in,
Right.
and I used to get up and sing. And he said, and Don Rickles made the statement one night. They said, he don't sound bad. So from that point on, Dorothy in his office, who was his secretary, called me. He says, The old man said, whenever you want lessons, come to Palm Springs. He'll teach you. And I let it go a couple of times. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to call him. And sure enough, I mean, the song that the one song, and maybe, you know, it's a good way to close the show. The one song, as he was ill, I used to go see him before Barbara, his new wife, banned everybody to see him. I saw him, and he came out to the pool. He had his white pajamas on, cup of coffee. It was like 2:00 in the afternoon. We sit down, and he's being very, you know, I could tell he's on the way out. And he said, I want you to do me a favor. I said, whatever you want. He said, I want you, when I die, whenever you get up and sing in public, I want you to dedicate a song to me and Ava Gardner. Now, he loved Nancy. He talked to his wife, Nancy, every day of her life until he died.
Oh, wow.
Nobody knew that. And everybody that's around him knew it because he loved his children. And talk about a woman. She knew he was in love with Ava Gardner. She says, I'm going to give you a divorce so you can go after and pursue her. What I don't know one like that. I got a couple of lines and put a bullet.
Little different dialogue.
Right. So he says to me, what's the song? I said to him, what's the song? And he tells me the song. And I think I'm going to close the show with that song.
Oh, I'm going to sit back and enjoy.
So to our audience, keep the cards and letters coming. This is the last thing Frank Sinatra asked me when he was alive. The song is amazing. I'll do just a couple of bars. When somebody loves you, it's no good unless she loves you all the way. Happy to be near you when you need someone to cheer you all the way. Taller than that tallest tree is, that's how it's got to feel. I mean, that lyric is insane. I'm saying goodnight with that. I didn't vocalize. My voice is hoarse. Frank, that was for you and Ava. God bless you. God bless everybody out there.
Beautiful.
Till next week.
Thank you, Gianni. Great
Bye.
stories. Good night.
Good night. Hi, it's me again. I got another offer you shouldn't refuse. For any of your gift ideas and just stuff you want for yourself, memorabilia from albums from State Street, there's so many things on GianniRusso.com. Just go to GianniRusso.com. You'll see a variety of gifts for yourself, your friends. I'll personalize them. Go there, make the order, and as I said, I'll sign them, do whatever you want to do. Keep watching and listening to Hollywood Godfather podcast. New show every Wednesday. We're going to our 300 hours. I can't believe it. And it's all because of your support. Tell your friends. God bless you. Gianni Russo.
When somebody loves you, it's no good unless she loves you all the way. Happy to be near you when you need someone to cheer you all the way. Taller than the tallest tree is, that's how it's got to feel. Deeper than the deep blue sea is, that's how deep it goes, if it's real. When somebody needs you, it's no good unless she needs you all the way. Through the good and lean years, and for all those in between years, come what may. only a fool would say. But if you let me love you, it's for sure I'm gonna love you all the way, all the way. Who knows where the road will lead us? Only a fool would say. But if you let me love you, it's for sure I'm gonna love you all the way, all the way.
Good tune. Did I get to it? Just do that first line.